one's ever said that I am unwilling to offend. I offend plenty of people because I call people out when they do something wrong. What I will tell you is Chris Christie is from New Jersey. I should have said slavery right off the bat. But if you grow up in South Carolina, literally in second and third grade, you learn about slavery. You grow up and you have, I had black friends growing up. It is a very talked about thing. We have a big history in South Carolina when it comes to, slavery, when it comes to all the things that happened with the Civil War, all of that. I was thinking past slavery and talking about the lesson that we would learn going forward. I shouldn't have done that. I should have said slavery, but in my mind, that's a given that everybody associates the Civil War with slavery.
I had black friends growing up. It's already been sent out, I should note, by the DeSantis allies, DeSantis campaign online. What did you make of her attempt to wrap that up, clean that up?
She was cleaning it up with a dirty rag. I mean, it wasn't a cleanup at all. It's painful. I don't get it. I think it says something about her. I think it says something about the Republican base. I think this should not be hard for a woman of color in this day and age to talk with real power and force about how awful slavery was and how important it is for us as a country to get past it and to deal with it and to confront it so we can be better, as she has done as a governor. I think it says something about the Republican base that she's so afraid that there's some big number of people that can't hear that she's going to tiptoe through every tulip she can find and wrap herself around the axle, avoiding saying stuff that's true. I found it painful. Not personally painful, but just awkward to watch a grown woman not be able to say what any kindergarten teacher could say, any third grade teacher could say, because there's either something off about her or about this party that will not be able to speak the truth.
Well, the shocking thing was that this was not a surprise. Okay, this story's been kicking around. Right, yeah. The fact she knew this question was coming, she must have thought about it, and yet she still couldn't. And I think it's what you say, because she did not want to offend the Republican base by leaning into
And what does that say about the Republican base?
Well, but I think we should ask Scott. Scott, I want to know what you think about this. Is it the Republican base or is it a Nikki Haley?
I think this is a Nikki Haley issue. I think she messed up on the first thing, immediately recognized that she messed up, and hasn't learned the critical issue of cleaning things up, which is sometimes less is more. You can just say, man, I messed up. Of course I should have said slavery, and I feel very strongly about this. And, oh, by the way, it was the Republican Party and a Republican president that ended slavery in this country. And you really lean into just saying, I messed up, and here's why I'm so proud to be a Republican. But in her cleanup afterwards, and even tonight, she says, oh, I should have said slavery. Of course, it's slavery. But then you just get more, and it unspools, and it unspools. And I think it has nothing to do with the Republican base. I just think it has to do with someone who can't recognize that, look, less is more here. Take the L and move on.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
When you don't have the words on an issue this important, she should have left it as simple as, of course, it was about slavery and I was wrong. And I felt like she got where she wanted to be at the end of the answer, at the end of it, talking about bringing down the Confederate flag and how important that was to bring these coalitions together and saying, you don't have to stand with me, but I'm going to do it. But everything leading up to that felt like she felt lost in it. She did herself no favors, and she kind of put herself back where she was at the beginning of this issue. My fear is this, is I think that in the Trump era of Republican politics, you may disagree, Scott, Trump started to speak to a part of the Republican electorate that better angels before him didn't speak to. John McCain refused to try to reach out to some of the David Dukes of the world, those who might, lean toward the white supremacy side of things. It's now seen as a core constituency that folks need to turn out. Now, I'm not accusing Nikki Haley of trying to do that, but I do feel like there's this fear of alienating someone who might come out for you. And I think we need to get back to a place where we say, I don't even want those
It was
votes.
notable to me that Chip Roy, when we were just speaking to him, he brought this up about Nikki Haley as a line of attack.
Because the issue is not ultimately slavery. The issue is her, and this is, you mentioned the Confederate flag. She campaigned twice against taking the Confederate flag down when she ran for governor. Ultimately, there was this tragedy, and there was a huge movement in the state to take the flag down, and then she saw which way it was going. And I'm not saying that in her heart she didn't believe that's what should be done, but I'm saying she didn't say it when she was running for office. She is someone who does a lot of calculating about where the perfect political answer is at any given moment. And in a presidential race, that catches up with you. You can't fake it. I mean, I said a long time ago, presidential races are MRIs for the soul. And I think this is her vulnerability. Not any particular issue,
David,
but the character dimensions of it.
You had to coach Obama through a lot of this stuff. When you have a person of color on the national stage, there is a tightrope element there. Is she being poorly coached? I mean, how do you see
Listen,
this?
I think she's a very strong person. I don't think if anything, I think she's probably not someone who is coached very much. I think she makes a lot of her own judgments. Yeah. So I don't think this is a matter of her being missed. This is her. Now, there may be additionally baggage that comes along with having been the daughter of immigrants, an Indian American woman who saw a lot of racial politics in her state and has managed to navigate through it. And there are muscle memories that may take her to this place. But she's made a lot of mistakes in the last 2 weeks, some large, some small, that all go to one thing, which is authenticity. And I think that's something that she needs to be aware of.
To that point, it was jarring to me to hear her in response to a question about how she thought about slavery, to respond with how she and her family felt as Indian Americans in South Carolina, important but separate of an issue. And Laura, I know you have some thoughts on this too.
Oh, do I, Abby, on this very point? I mean, first of all, I'm always a little bit blown away, as I'm sure you are, when somebody has a knee-jerk reaction of going to, well, I had black friends growing up, and so we talked about slavery as if we have conversations on a daily basis with our white counterparts about slavery in America, number one. Number two, the idea that this is a presidential candidate who was asked a question about the origins of the Civil War, and at the time, she jokingly said, well, that was a tough question. It's not a tough question. You're somebody who is asked for the opportunity to lead, and I really just take issue, just politically neutral about it. But the idea that somebody who wants to lead the country has to politically calibrate even the most obvious facts of our own history, it is very telling that even tonight she didn't get it right.
Look,
I just don't understand.
Slavery is part of the history. I mean, some people would like it to be ancient history, but it's a formative fact of American history.
It is.
As President of the United States, you got to be able to talk about it and talk about it with some depth, even in the Republican primary, I should add.